this lifetime. I'm doing really well. So yeah, let's get into it. So I wanted to speak on something that I thought about the other day when I was watching these two men debate. I like to watch men speak so I'm able to understand a man's point of view and not just a woman's point of view. And when these two men were talking, I was brought back to something from my childhood, and it really made me remember a certain person. So I wanted to speak on that because I know what I'm going to speak on is so relatable, and a lot of people have dealt with this, especially my Black men, my Black kings. And I think that this video should be watched by a lot of Black men as well as Black women. So basically, when we were younger, and if you grew up in a single parent home, mostly raised by a single mother, when you were raised by a single mother, Black men used to hate when their mom brought home a man. And why? Because their mama is already tired. Their mama's already stressed. Their mama's already worked herself halfway to death, and they've already watched their mom's spark disappear right before their eyes. So when the mama brought home a man and brought them into the home, 9 times out of 10, those Black men as boys knew that man was not going to be beneficial to the home. And they weren't. Most times they weren't. Even young girls have experienced that when their mama brought a man into the home, it wasn't beneficial. Their mama still worked long hours. The mama was still stressed. The mama still didn't get her spark back. I feel like a lot of us as children have experienced that, and experienced Black moms choosing men over us as kids. And if you've ever experienced that, it leaves you feeling, I don't want to say unwanted. I really can't figure out a word, but I feel like if you have gone through what I'm speaking about and were raised as raised by a single mom, and that mother chose a man over you, then you know the feeling and the word I would like to use. I just can't think of it right now. I'm having a brain fog. But I feel like us as kids recognized this person was no good for the home. But it's the same as when your friend tells you, what do you see in this person? Why are you with them? They can see that person's no good, but you think that they're like the queen, the king of all worlds. That's how your mama felt. But I feel like kids know that this person's no good, and the kids were most of the times right, and I feel like Black men would have to fight those men. Black men would have to fight for a spot in their mom's eyes, and they just watch these men kind of live off their mom, and they watch these men use up their mothers. They came into the house, nothing changed for the mom. She still worked long hours. She still didn't get her spark back. She still was tired. She still was stressed. She still didn't have enough time for the child, So the core of what I want to get into is, how did Black men become those men that they hated to see their mothers with? I feel like Black men don't get upset. I feel like Black men have become those men. They come into these women's lives. I've experienced this. I'm pretty sure a lot of women have experienced this. I have seen it with my own eyes, and I have experienced it. And I know a lot of people that are going through this as I speak. I feel like these men, especially Black men, come into these women's lives and they don't add anything to it. They don't add any value. Nowadays, these men are getting women pregnant. These women are still working lots of hours, still having to take off when the baby's sick, but they have a whole man. They have a whole partner. You know what I mean? These men are not beneficial. What is he there for? Just to have sex with you? I feel like these men have become the very thing they hated. And I'm sorry, black men, that hurts to say that, but what are you adding to that woman's life? Since you have come into her life, has she been able to stop working long hours? Has she been able to let go of stress? Has she been able to trust you enough that you got her? No. A lot of the times women are still getting those kids up by themselves every morning, putting them on the bus, then go to work. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women are still working long hours. A lot of women are still stressed. A lot of women are actually losing their spark. And the black men don't even realize it. Maybe they do realize it, but they don't care enough. They just go off and go find someone else to do that too. That's what I'm saying, is that this is why I think it's important to speak about it. Because I feel like if you're a black man and you notice that you have become the very man that you used to hate to see your mama with, then you can change that today. You can heal today. That's why I just think that healing is such a vital thing, especially as an adult. You know what I mean? I feel like not everything can just be like, well, my childhood. Okay, well, when are you going to grow out of that? When are you going to heal from that? You can't keep using that as an excuse, you know, and I've made a video about this long since. You can't keep using your childhood trauma as an excuse. You know what I'm saying? And those men who your mom brought home, what did they bring into the home? Childhood trauma. So how can you bring childhood trauma into your kid's life? In that woman's child's life? You know, how can you just sit there in this woman's house and see her cry, see her spark vanish, and you don't do anything about it? You don't even care. Just how that man didn't care about your mother, you don't care about that woman. No matter how many times you say, I love her, I do love her. Love is an action. What action are you showing her? What action are you showing yourself that you love her? You know what I'm saying? Don't become these men that you hated. And I hate to see men, especially my black beautiful men, become these men that they hated to see their moms with. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's why a lot of women don't want to do 50-50 with their men anymore. Me personally, I'm not a 50-50 woman. I'm not. Now, what does that mean? I just only want you for your money. I want you to do everything for me, pay for me, everything. No. I feel like it's more than financial. It's mentally, it's physically, it's emotionally. You know what I mean? I feel like you need to have me in all those departments, not just financially. I feel like men, and especially if you're a man who gets upset that a woman won't do 50-50 for you, you're not a man. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. Maybe you're a man. Maybe you have the appearance of a man, but you don't want responsibility. You know what I mean? When I hear a man say, I ain't paying all her bills, I ain't doing this, and you got kids with her, you laid with her, you tell her that you love her, and you're not willing to take care of her in that way? No. You're afraid of responsibility, babe. And I feel like that's what a lot of those men were afraid of when they were with your mother. You know, afraid of the responsibility. But then you guys weren't afraid to sleep with her. You weren't afraid to lay down with her, even though laying down with somebody has the power to kill you. Think about that. It does. Nah, you don't want to take care of her. You're afraid to take care of her. You're afraid of responsibility. Just how those men were that were dating your mama, taking advantage of your mama. I just feel like men have to take accountability. You know what I mean? And we'll get into the 50-50, 100, whatever, next time. Okay? We'll get into that next time. But for right now, I just want you to ask yourself as a man, since I've been in this woman's life, what has changed for her? What has changed for her? And if the answer is nothing, you're not doing your part as a man. You have turned into the very man who you hated as a kid. And I just feel like a lot of men don't realize that. And it's because they seen their mom not have boundaries, not stand on the boundaries that she set for herself. And nowadays you have women who don't stand on their boundaries either. I feel like it's worse now. I feel like women don't stand on any boundaries for themselves. The lack of self-respect that women have nowadays is crazy to me. And I just feel like that also plays a role. But then again, it's not a woman's job to teach you how to be a man. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like as you get older, you have the power to change. You have the power to grow. You know, as a man, you can't just keep on saying it's how I grew up, it's how I grew up. Well, when are you going to grow out of that mentality? When are you going to grow to be better? When are you going to decide, hey, I'm going to heal from my trauma. I'm going to learn how to be a man. You know, whether that's listening to podcasts, reading videos, reading the Bible, get close to God. I mean, if it's not the Bible, it's the Quran or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Become closer to a higher source, a positive source. You know what I mean? Get a mentor if you need it. But I just feel like you have to grow when you get older, unlearn things. And especially in my 30s, I'm learning to unlearn. I'm learning to unlearn negative things, toxic things. You know what I mean? I used to be a big narcissist. You know what I mean? I'm able to take accountability for my wrongs. I'm able to forgive myself when I wasn't as strong. You know, I feel like men have to heal. It's not about, oh, black men don't have an outlet. Black men don't want an outlet. Let's be real about that. Black men don't want an outlet. Black men don't want help. Why? Because it makes them seem weak. But baby, you're already weak. Your weakness is showing in your own home. Your weakness is showing when you go out in public. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a woman who's a woman, like a real peaceful woman, can spot if this man is a man or not. You know what I'm saying? And when we pick the wrong man, it's because we ignore their red flags, vice versa. You know? I just think that, especially black women, black men have to heal and stop using this childhood trauma as an excuse. You know what I mean? And I feel like, especially black men, if you have daughters, oh my God, if you have daughters who see you make their mama cry, who sees their mama work so hard, I feel like you really need to step up and heal. You really do. But a lot of people say like it started during slavery time. And I can understand that, because I'm not saying it's the black men's fault, no, but I'm saying that I feel like black men haven't grown out of that mentality. I feel like they haven't grown out of the slavery mentality yet. And what I mean by that is those black women who they seen during slavery time, they worked in the fields all day long from sun up to sundown. Even after they had a baby, they just right back to it. You know what I mean? They weren't able, I'm gonna be careful. They weren't able to keep those black women safe. And it's the same thing now. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like when women are pushing the narrative that they don't go 50-50 with men and things like that, I do feel like if I'm working 8 hours, how you're doing shit, maybe even more, even got a second job or whatever, and I still come home, take care of the kids and do everything myself, how are you a benefit to my life? How are you a value to my life? Like, I feel like that's how women are thinking nowadays. Like a small few, and I commend those women, not the women who basically are like, if you don't pay for this, I'm not giving you no PUS. That's why those are prostitutes, babe. I'm talking about the women who say, if you're not adding value to my life, you can't come into my life. You know what I mean? I commend those women. I am that woman. If you don't add value to me, you are cut from me. There's no reason for me to be with you. be an asset into my life. Be the man that when I read in the Bible, when I read in my Bible, I want to be able to see my husband in that. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like women, when you're reading whatever source you have that's a higher power, every higher power book tells you what a man is. And if you don't see your man, when you're reading those scriptures or whatever the case may be, that is not your husband. Leave him. He will drain you. He will take your spark away. Just how he's seen those men take his mama's sparks away, he will take your spark and never bring it back if you let him. Heal. I'm telling you, black women, black men, heal. You know what I mean? Because black men have become the very thing that they hated. You know what I mean? Heal from all trauma. Heal from childhood trauma, or else you will just continue to feel like an inner demon. You're fighting demons. I hate when black men say that, because those demons are you. Those demons are telling you, you gotta go hard, you gotta get better, you gotta do better. You know what I mean? Those demons are you. That's your higher self. So I don't accept when a man tells me, oh, I'm fighting demons. No, that's your higher self telling you to do better. But we'll talk about that in a different way. But basically my message is, if you realize that you have become those men that you hated to see your mama with, today is your day to change. Today is your day to change. And I want to just pull a prayer card before we close out. I don't look at them or anything. I just pick whichever one talks to me, because who's a better source than God? Nobody. So I feel like when God validates my messages and just is like, hey, this is what I want you to say, this is what I want you to do, there you have it. So I'm just going to pick out 3. So let's see what God got to say. I think there's something like this one. All right, so let's flip them over. So this one is today's prayer, and it says, whoever believes in me, as scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from them within them. Yeah. And this one, it says, for we live by faith, not by sight. Yes. Have faith in God. Be devoted to one another in love. Honor one another above yourselves. See, God be validating what I say. You really need to honor your woman. You really need to devote yourselves to one another. And a woman cannot devote herself to you if you're not doing your part. You know what I'm saying? So when God speaks, listen. So that's all I really wanted to say. And I hope everybody stays blessed and stays well in this lifetime. I wish you all the best. Bye.